For me, it started at the age of 6 years old when I was brought into what is known as the MyLab, some pronounce it MeLab programs. I was identified as an intuitive empath. Me and a few of the people that I was training with being brought into a program to where we were what they called IE support for the Earth delegation. And this was a federation of a large amount of ET federations that met to discuss the grand experiment. There were 22 genetic programs that were going on. Programs of them mixing their genetics and manipulating our genetics.
And that was ongoing?
Yes, it's ongoing right now. And this is what this was all about.
Did this involve these human-looking extraterrestrials?
Yes.
Splicing their DNA with ours, that kind of thing?
Yes. And manipulating our DNA.
How long do you think this program has been in action for?
Of the 22 different programs, they've been going on for different lengths of time. But the genetic manipulation of what we are has been going back at least 250,000 years.
Wow. What's the sequence of events that led to you becoming a whistleblower and that has led to what we're now seeing with this push towards disclosure?
I was contacted by an higher density ET group that has now been known as the Blue Avians. Blue Avians told me that them and the other beings that they are working with come from 6th through 9th density. And it comes from a different vibration or frequency. They've been here for quite some time. They've been observing, but they're here we're moving into a part of the galaxy that is a very high energetic part of the galaxy that's going to change the density of our solar system and our local star cluster. We're going to go through a transformational experience that is going to change us on a consciousness level, mainly. They are here with these giant spheres to help diffuse these large tsunami energy waves that are entering our solar system. And they're diffusing this energy to where we don't get too much at one time, and to give us more time to prepare.
If they didn't use these spheres, what did they say would happen?
That a lot of people would go mad and there'd be a lot of chaos.
And when you mention these spheres, what are we looking at? People are not seeing spheres in their telescopes.
No. These are also other density, and a lot of people are thinking that these are giant spacecraft. And I am almost certain, after my many travels in these spheres, that these spheres on a giant macro level. Their message for humanity is that we need to become more loving. We need to become forgiving of ourselves and forgiving of others, thus stopping the wheel of karma. We need to focus on becoming more service to others on a daily basis. And we need to focus on raising our vibration and our consciousness. Prayer and meditation are what help you raise your vibration and help you raise your consciousness. And even if you don't know how to meditate, meditating is just almost a form of even daydreaming. Sit there and focus on your mind, and focus your mind on, as long as you can at first, on positive, loving thoughts, and on how you can become more positive and more loving to the people around you, and how you can become more service to others and more forgiving to yourself and others.
And what will that do?
It will change the world one person at a time.
Well, that's great.
Being yourself.
timeline that we're on at the moment is positive. And many people say, well, if it's positive, why is there so much pain and suffering happening at the moment? And that's a very good question, and I want to try and address it. If you are a member of the elite, you want a structure left. You don't want to destroy your country. What you want to do is to remove the people from that country, because it's wrong to think that high members of the elite, the Illuminati, don't appreciate the forest or appreciate rivers and seas. Of course they do. The only difference is they want it for themselves. So they want to walk out into a forest and not see anybody. They want to walk out to a beautiful waterfall and not see another living soul, because they've all been murdered. That's the plan. They want all this beauty for themselves. They have never been taught to share. So that is a timeline that they wish. That is a timeline that must never be allowed to happen. There are a number of outcomes, a number of timelines, but it is the humans themselves who will dictate where we are on that. And the sad thing is that so few people are consciously awake, but there are enough people awake to make that decision. So there are enough of us, we can do it, and they are terribly frightened. The elite are terribly frightened of anybody who stands in their own truth. Now, we don't want to get into politics, but you remember several scenes where flowers are put down the barrels of guns. That is a nightmare to the elite, absolute nightmare, because if you retaliate with violence, then those soldiers will retaliate with violence, and everything is seen as equal. But if you face these people in a non-violent way, it is something that they can't cope with. It's often said that we will move into the fifth dimension and miss out the fourth dimension. My understanding is that we will pass through the fourth dimension but won't stop there. The fourth dimension is where, in street talk, the bad guys are. In more professional talk, it's where all the heavy, dense energies lie. And at the moment, they are so heavy and dense that they are bulging down into the third dimension. I believe that the human race will enter the fourth, but not stop there. It will move on to the fifth, at which point it will then stop to start the learning process. And this is a tremendous change, because those creatures that have oppressed freedom will actually be behind us from a linear perspective. And so, although we are technologically inferior to many of these creatures, we will prove that the spiritual capability of humans is actually greater. The earth will choose to evolve. That is a natural course of all living creatures. If you have good intent, you will evolve towards the positive. If your intent is not of a good sort, then your evolution can be very variable and can lead you down a dead end. Those are the old energies. These are the energies that we are leaving behind. This planet is leaving that value behind it. And we are going forward with a far more open and truthful engagement between people on this planet. And even some people who are totally unawake are frankly quite sick of what's gone in the past. They want something different. People are crying out for a new way to do things. The future is ours. We just have to be brave enough to reach out and take it and do it in a way that is beneficial for us, our families, our friends, and the planet.